you. Good afternoon, faculty, special guests, and students. I'm very pleased and honored to be here today to introduce to you this year's Inspiring Social Worker Award recipient, Kassam. And I'm very pleased that my nomination was selected. Thank you. I've known Ilham since December 2012, hiring him into a case manager position at AIDS Vancouver. He has been promoted twice since that time, firstly to the position of case management support supervisor, and then to the new position of program manager and clinical service supervisor, in July 2016, position he currently holds. AIDS Vancouver is a nonprofit organization that aims to alleviate individual and collective vulnerability to HIV and AIDS through support, public education, and community-based research. Ilham is a registered social worker, holds a bachelor's degree in social work from the University of Fraser Valley. He is also nearing the completion of his master's in social work that he's been doing while still working full-time. Prior to joining us at AIDS Vancouver, Ilham worked with youth and adults battling addictions in the Fraser Health region, as well as the Ministry of Children and Family and Development. Ilham believes strongly in the obligation we have to serve others as an active volunteer, and has demonstrated such at a young age through continuous involvement in various volunteer capacities with the Shiite Ismaili Muslim community, such as the Aga Khan Volunteer Corps and the Aga Khan School Welfare Board of British Columbia. My overall experience in working with Ilham over the years is that he's extremely knowledgeable in the area of HIV/AIDS. He's an excellent supervisor who is well respected by the social workers and the other staff he supervises. He effectively manages all of our programs and services at AIDS Vancouver, and we're extremely pleased to have his expertise. Our work at AIDS Vancouver revolves around the social determinants of health and social justice in our work with marginalized populations. Our services are available to anyone with an HIV diagnosis, regardless of where they live, and we are the oldest AIDS service organization in Canada. Ilham supervises 4 community case managers, 6 health promotion case managers, volunteer resources coordinator, community outreach coordinator, helpline online coordinator, our grocery coordinator, and our reception. He is part of the leadership team with the finance manager and myself, the executive director. While AIDS Vancouver has traditionally served people living with HIV, we recently embarked on a new and exciting prevention program working with specific populations who are more at risk of contracting HIV, but who are HIV negative. This program targets vulnerable women, Indigenous people, new immigrants, and refugees, gay and bisexual and other men who sex with men. And Ilham is overseeing this new project through supervising the program staff, all of whom work closely with Vancouver Coastal Health Authority and the STOP team. As AIDS Vancouver is the appointed case management agency for Vancouver Coastal Health, Ilham is not only committed to AIDS Vancouver, but also to the clients we serve, and is always looking for their welfare. His inspiration to care for others and contribute to improving the quality of life of social work services are inspiring. Ilham is by far an inspiring social worker. He is also someone who is a good human being, and please welcome him to the podium.
Okay, before I pass the mic to Ilham, I just want to make sure I have the control. So this is the award. Is it nice? Okay, so congratulations.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I would like to acknowledge that we are gathered here today on traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Musqueam people. I would like to thank Brian Chittock for his thoughtful introduction. Brian is the current executive director of AIDS Vancouver, the first AIDS service organization in Canada. Brian, you've been an amazing supervisor, colleague, role model, and inspiration to me. Thank you. Professor Yan, members of the BC Association of Social Workers, faculty, parents, and students, I thank you for the warm welcome, and I am deeply honored by this recognition. I accept this award with much happiness, but also a profound sense of humility, as I am cognizant that there are many social workers with greater distinctions and who have been a part of the social work field for many years, working tirelessly to serve others without any type of recognition. Social workers like Paul Cheng, who this award is in memory of. I want you all to know that today, above all else, belongs to the incoming bachelor's, master's, and PhD students. Congratulations to all of you for being accepted into your respective degrees, for choosing social work to be the greatest interest to you, and entering a field of study that is of paramount importance to society. When Professor Yan and Mary Ann sat down to meet with me and informed me I was receiving this award, I was taken back. However, before I could even digest this news, Professor Yan also informed me that this award came with a 30-minute speech. To be honest and transparent with all of you, I probably had a small panic attack at that moment, as I'm not the biggest fan of public speaking. But nevertheless, here I am with you, and I couldn't be any happier. Professor Yan told me that this would be a lecture to the students of the social work program, and that he wanted me to inspire you. Well, I'm not sure if I will be able to do this today, but I can promise you that I will tell you about my journey, and what I have learned, and what inspires me to continue to want to be a part of the social work profession. I may even go against some of the preconceived notions about social work, but this is my truth, based on where I am today. 12 years ago, I entered my first social work class. But believe me, my journey started before this. But I believe my journey started before this. My name is Kassam, and I'm a Shia, Imami, Ismaili Muslim. A cherished principle in the Shia Ismaili culture is the importance of contributing one's individual energies on a volunteer basis to empowering the lives of others. At a very young age, to be honest, as far back as I can remember, my parents and my community have instilled in me the importance of voluntary service. My earliest memories are of my mother taking me to mosque and us volunteering together. Whether I was opening doors for the senior members of our community, helping clean up after ceremonies, or doing whatever was asked of me, I remember enjoying doing it. The satisfaction was more intrinsic. We have a motto in our community about volunteering: work no words. Throughout my career, I've admired social workers who I can see adopted this philosophy, whether it be jumping to do outreach at a moment's notice, supporting a client in something that would be outside of their job description, or giving their time selflessly after hours. I would admire it all. My parents, community, and sister have always preached to me the importance of education. My sister, who had come home from being away in school after her first degree, was accepted to go to Thompson Rivers University in Kamloops for respiratory therapy. My sister told me to go with her, to get away and focus on my education. I was hesitant to say the least. I was content with my life, and to be honest, not very interested in education at that time. I was forced to look at the long term. I know Kamloops isn't that far, and at that time it was an entirely different world to me. However, I made the decision to go. I look back at that decision as one that changed my life. This decision was really driven by my parents and sister, seeing more in me than I probably saw in myself at that time. After transferring to Thompson Rivers University, I was not sure about what career path I would take, so I met with an academic advisor. I was introduced to the field of social work. I didn't know much about the profession, but I enrolled into the prereq courses and started doing my research. Do you know what the first things that popped up about the social work profession was? Burnout and low pay. Burnout and low pay. Why would anyone want to go into a profession that's portrayed? I had to do more research about the profession. I talked to professors, practitioners, and looked at my own community. I had to do more research. When I talked to professors and practitioners, I found they were passionate about the profession. They told me the rush of problem solving, supporting people, and having fulfillment in their lives. As for my community, in 1972, following Idi Amin's expulsion of Ugandan Asians, 7,000 Ismaili Muslims fled and were brought to Canada. It was great to hear about how Canada opened its arms to refugees, and we've seen this happen throughout the history of Canada. It is important to remember, just like Paul Cheng, who we heard about earlier, many social workers in Canada are the first point of contact with refugees to support them through very critical parts of their lives. Social workers can have a profound impact, not only on a person, but on entire communities. Social workers often work with refugees to help support them in becoming productive members of society. My father has always told me, you can give a person a fish and you will feed him for a day, but if you teach them to fish, you have fed them for a lifetime. I made the decision to apply to various social work programs and was accepted to a few different schools, including UBC. But I made the difficult decision to go to the University of the Fraser Valley. In all honesty, it was a very difficult decision. However, in my transition back to the Lower Mainland, I had started working for an after-school programs. The social work program at UFV allowed me to work and go to school at the same time, which was a necessity for me. So there I am, entering a school of social work program, as some of you today can relate to. I hope in no way that I've made it appear that this was at all an easy decision to make. Yes, my family supported the idea of furthering education. And yes, my community believes in the ethics and values that promote the importance of serving others. However, the profession of social work was foreign to the people in my network at that time. When I told people I was completing a social work degree, it was often met with a confused, "That's nice," type of response. With my family, there were a lot of questions regarding the possibility of picking another profession, paths that were perhaps they were more familiar with. I really felt that this was brought on by the unknown of the social work profession. Did you know that the BC College of Social Workers was not even established until 2008? I was already in the program and this wasn't established. Please take a moment to think about that. The registration process in BC was not even started until 2008. I know for some of you that probably causes anxiety, because that means you're all taking an exam to become registered social workers now. But please know that this is a great step for our profession. It is really a sign of us moving forward. Along with doubt about my choice in profession came the fact that I was entering a program that I knew I would be a minority in. Not only was I a male entering the social work program, I was a man of color entering the social work program. At this time, I want the social work students to please stand up. Been sitting for a while. Okay, now all the social work faculty in attendance, please stand up. Now look around the room at each other. Please know that this network right here is going to be very important to you. Social work is not like any other degree. The knowledge sharing that will happen here and the support you will receive here will be unlike any other. And if this is not the case, I urge each of you, faculty and students, to please hold each other accountable. Sit down. For me, I was entering the social program with doubts of this being the right profession for me. There were two important factors that kept me passionate about the path I had chosen for my education. I knew what the doubts were. I asked questions, and I prepared myself for the decision I made, firstly. Second, the network, the great classmates I had, and excellent faculty for always having their door open to me. I had conversations with multiple professors during my bachelor's degree, and they probably don't even remember those conversations, but I do. And they had a great impact on me. I encourage all of you to push each other, ask questions of one another, force each other to stay passionate, to dream big, and I repeat, hold each other accountable. Encourage one another. You all will one day represent each other in this profession. And remember, you are paying to be here. During my program, during my bachelor's program, I had a fantastic third-year practicum. I really found a passion here. I was placed at Templeton Secondary School as the addiction support worker. I was able to connect with individuals and really enjoyed the group work and the one-to-one support I was able to provide. The biggest obstacle came for me in my bachelor's degree while picking my fourth-year practicum. At that time in social work, there was a shortage of MCFD workers. Doing the MCFD practicum route meant guaranteed placement, a strong opportunity for employment, and shockingly, a decent rate of pay. higher than the average social worker position was paying at that time. It did feel right to me though, and I opted for another practical placement. I don't know if I should have gone the MCFD route, but I also don't think I made the correct practical decision. I ended up getting a program development position with Fraser Health under an MSW supervisor. It did show me alternate opportunities in social work, but it was a minimum client contact and not really what I was hoping for. I felt I lost out on an opportunity. All of you here, yes, you have a field education coordinator, but I urge you to please take a great deal of consideration when deciding your practical placements. Network, look around, ask questions, learn as much as you can before making your decision. Remember, this is your education and your practical. Make sure you're doing what you feel you are passionate about. I picked a path in school that didn't lead to the guaranteed social work position. I had to search and landed a position at Fraser Health, working frontline as a youth worker in a withdrawal management unit. These were 12-hour shifts, part of a multidisciplinary team. I learned a lot here about building relationships with clients and how to really advocate for one on a client's behalf. I tried to look for other positions within Fraser Health, but often other people with more seniority or experience would receive the position. I had to reach out to my social work network and got an opportunity to work at Métis Family Services, a delegated Ministry of Children and Family Development office. I was not sure if this was the right place for me, but took the opportunity to learn about the MCFD system. I also kept a casual position at Fraser Health and was soon working 50+ hours a week. This is probably not advisable in a field that burnout is often talked about. But I knew where I was in the profession. I was starting out, I wanted to learn, and I still felt passionate. So burnout was not really something I was thinking about. I still remember my first removal like it was yesterday. It really isn't something you forget. I've been working with this family for a bit, so I knew everyone involved. There was an incident at the home, and we had to go in around the end of the day and remove 3 young children, 2 boys and 1 girl, from their mother's care. They knew who I was. I had been working with them. In fact, I had taken one of the boys to McDonald's after an appointment we had on a prior occasion. I went in that day and I told the children that they were not able to stay at home that night. And they asked me if I could take them to McDonald's. It was at the end of the day, but we had found a family member the kids could stay with. And I would be the one to take them. On the way there, early after my work schedule, I stopped and we went into McDonald's. I sat with them as they ate. And they didn't really say too much. They weren't mad at me like I thought they may be. To be honest, they were more understanding than I expected. As I sat there with them, in that moment, I knew that MCFD work wasn't for me. I know that I removed them from an unsafe environment and that we were going to a safe environment for them, and that did give me satisfaction. I was also happy that they felt comfortable enough with me to allow me to spend more time with them. When I dropped them off that night, that little girl gave me a hug that I still remember today. I don't regret my time working for Métis Family Services. It was a great organization and I learned a lot. I had excellent supervision and still use a lot of what I learned there in my work today. I left my foot in the door at my position at Fraser Health and was able to go back to it as I explored other options. Soon, I found AIDS Vancouver, where I started as a case manager. This was a Health Sciences Association position, and I was excited to start. I learned quickly, though, that this was a diverse team. Clients come in to access services from AIDS Vancouver for many different supports, from housing, advocacy, mental health support, immigration, family support, healthcare, and many other needs. It was a lot. And I quickly learned I didn't know enough. The team was great, and they were willing to support me. One case manager in particular, who had been with the agency for over 15 years. One who you could tell was still passionate about the work, and really seemed to understand the needs of clients. I would stay after work to learn from her. I would buy her coffee just to pick her brain, and she would mentor me. I also soon took on the shop steward position for the agency. This was a difficult position to take on, as it meant a lot of unpaid work, but I was supporting the agency and my colleagues. Again, it was a learning opportunity, so I didn't shy away from it. I also would sit down with our finance manager, who's been with the agency forever, literally almost 20 years, and Brian, to learn as much about the agency as I could. Now, I'm a part of the leadership team. My journey led me to AIDS Vancouver, where I am excited to support my colleagues and make real changes in the agency to support our clients to the best of our abilities. I was beyond humbled to learn that Brian and other members of the AIDS Vancouver staff had nominated me for this award. I was going to share a couple of client stories from my time at AIDS Vancouver, but Brian had sent me the nomination letters that were sent in for me by other colleagues. After reading these letters, I had a feeling that is hard to put into words. And I quote, "There are several accounts that I have seen ILM serve our clients beyond the expectation of a social worker. One of our more critical clients is an immigrant single mother of 3 who relies on AIDS Vancouver for basic needs like food security and housing. ILM has gone several times for years outside of his office hours without compensation to deliver this woman and her children groceries from our grocery program. One situation that I recall was when another case manager had a client in her office who was clearly very upset, yelling for several minutes. Ilm and I were standing at the door to her office to ensure her safety. Ilm decided to open the door. He went in quietly and asked the client if he could get him a drink of water. Ilm was calm and kind. The client agreed. Ilm got him some water, and just that small intervention was enough to help the client again regain his composure. I use this situation as an instance of how Ilm calmly, kindly, and routinely works to ensure the dignity of our clients and the well-being of our staff. He is a careful listener and a gifted leader. The reason I wanted to share these quotes with you is because one of these moments I don't even remember, and the other I've done for so long I don't even think about. It's amazing though to think about what people notice and take away from our work. Please remember that when you are modeling the profession of social work, that your actions have a profound impact on clients, other service providers, and society as a whole. I'm not sure how long I have currently. I tried to Google how many words a 30-minute speech was. I do want to take this time, though, to thank UBC, the UBC School of Social Work, and the BC Association of Social Workers for creating this award. I hope that it gets more attention for upcoming years, and that other awards are created to recognize the amazing social workers, the amazing work that social workers do across this province. I want to thank my colleagues at AIDS Vancouver for nominating me for this award. I am beyond lucky to be a part of this organization and appreciate all of the support. I have, or I guess had, a very special thank you, I still do, for Marianne Mann for establishing this award in the memory of her late husband, Paul Cheng. I just recently found out she wasn't able to be with us, so I do hope she sees this one day. Marianne, I don't think I will ever be able to truly express how much this means to me. But I want you to know that you have put a smile on the faces of 2 immigrant parents who came to this country from East Africa and have worked tirelessly and selflessly their entire lives to give their 2 children opportunities they never had. And thanks to your commitment to the social work profession, I was hopefully able to make them proud. For the social work students, again, this is your day. And as I said before, I will probably say some things that go against the conventional social work thinking. Please don't worry about your pay. To be clear, the average social work salary is above the average salary in BC. This doesn't mean social workers are paid what they are worth. But it does mean we are paid to do a service, and that our service users deserve the best from us. The self-fulfillment you will feel can be considered a bonus. Burnout is real, but don't defeat yourself. Don't tell yourself you're going to burn out. Don't concern yourself about the workload before it happens. Embrace it. Go into the work. You know what it is. Take steps to avoid it. And the best way of doing this is to be passionate about your work. There will be tough days of work, but stay passionate about it. And find the right place for you and where you want to be. If you're consistently going into an environment you are unhappy with, your attitude will not change, and you will do more harm than good. I've been a social worker for 8 years, and I've held 9 different positions, some of course at the same time. Don't be afraid to deviate from your job description or work outside of your hours. Social work is built on relationships, so please take those extra steps or do those little things. You may think they don't matter, but they do. Take every opportunity to learn. You are currently paying for this education. When you are able to learn from people for free, why pass it up? Ask questions and try different opportunities. And above all else, share the knowledge you gain. That's the purpose of this. Failure is sometimes the best way to figure out where you are going. Part of the Islamic ethic is to be committed to goals with universal relevance. The elimination of poverty, access to education, and social peace in a pluralistic environment, with the overall objective to improve the quality of human life. In closing, I would like to share a quote from His Highness the Aga Khan, the founder and chairman of the Aga Khan Development Network, and who is also the 49th hereditary Imam, spiritual leader of the Shia Imam Islamic Muslims. There are voices that can help transform countries of crisis into countries of opportunity. There are too many societies where too many people live in a culture of fear, condemned to a life of poverty. Addressing that fear and replacing it with hope will be a major step to the elimination of poverty. My congratulations once again to all of you, and I hope you will find what inspires you and empowers you in all the good things that you will be doing in the days and years ahead. It has been an honor to share this day with you. Thank you.
We have some time for questions or any feedback you want to give to Cal. Keep pronouncing his name incorrect. Any questions or feedback for him?
That's very motivating. Thank you.
I have a mic here if anyone wants to ask a question. I have time to listen.
Just like you
They're tired of hearing.
No, let's take some time. Any questions? Or any, yeah?
I'm just curious about your talking about burnout and avoiding burnout at the same time doing the after hours and the little bits that take, that some people would say would be against kind of self-care practices.
Do you have any kind of words of wisdom about that balance, or is it not a balance? Do you have to accept that's not a balance? Stuff like that?
I don't know what words of wisdom, but what's helped me is just knowing that burnout is a real thing, so I have to be aware of it. So I can work extra hours, and I can still know that there are other things that I can do to ground myself. Whether, for me, my spirituality and meditation. There are lots of hours in the week, so I can find time for that. I can also find time to do a bit of extra work, and it's helped me.
Okay, you got this. Next question.
I just wanted to say something. I just want to say thank you for when you mentioned working for LGBT Family Services Society and to do such a thankless job, and your humility is just exuding from you. And I just wanted to really applaud you for that. I want to say, Marcy, as an AT, I would really like to say thank you very much.
Cheng, you got it. Okay, anyone else? No? Okay, once again, I think this is a very beautiful speech. Thank you very much. Stand up and also, really thank Yale's parents because, for his speech, we have learned a lot about how his parents and sister motivate him. So I think this is a great family. We should all learn.
We also take practicum students at AIDS Vancouver.
Yeah.
You can ask me questions in private too. You may be nervous like me for these guys.
Really up 5, 6, okay? One more thing is I also want to introduce the adjudication committee. Andrew already mentioned, he's part of the very important member. And then we also have a member who today technically fly from Victoria. The Nanaimo to here is Pam Miller, Dr. Pam Miller is a retired professor from the University of Victoria, and she's very helpful for the process. Thank you, Pam. For Brian and also for Andrew for coming, and also the Kassam family. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.